And we back. What does
We
lo-
are
what does
back.
Chance the Rapper like saying? We back, we back.
Man, what happened to that guy? Is he still making music?
He's around. He's not. He hasn't dropped anything yet, but like he still loves his wife.
Ah, I would be scared if he didn't. I'm glad that this is still consistent with his character.
He still loves his wife. But yeah, like we were saying. So we are now. Then there's like this battle trial arc. It's what it's called, and everyone is divided into different teams
Pairs.
and yeah, different pairs to be exact. And they are like given they have to like capture the flag, but like it's not a flag. You have to destroy the enemy's like robot or something, some sort of device that the each team has, and you must destroy it. So you can win. And so Oravity's put on a team with Deku, and Kachan's put on a team with Ingenium either, and they face off. And Kachan has this chip on his shoulder from witnessing Deku having a quirk, and he's like, okay, now I want to fight you, to like, just prove that I'm still better. I'll beat you. And he doesn't even care that Ida's like, yo, we need a plan for this to win the game, you know. Um, but Deku being his smart self, in these stages of the story,
Bruh.
he devises a plan with Ochako that he will distract uh, Kachan, and then like she will go and then destroy the the machine that the opposite team has. And I think they do this by he's like below the floor where she is, and like um Deku like punches upwards, he Detroit smashes upwards, and then like he destroys the thing. I really can't remember how exactly it worked, but I just know Deku really used a smart plan for them to win. And it was at the cost of like a lot of damage that Kachan gave him from his explosions, which it's very weird that this guy literally just blew up like his classmate point blank more than once,
Durability is insane.
and he survived. But then when he punches hard, his arm just busted.
Which I'm not even sure. I won't bring it up now. Don't worry. Oh, we will do that in what, season 3?
Yeah. And
Now, I was
um
going to talk about Kachan's powers where he's talking about, oh, my gauntlet collects my sweat and then I can release
oh
it.
my
You
god.
know,
And the grenades also, like, bro, I also have a lot to like talk about with this guy when it comes to how his powers work. But like the
not just
chapter.
how his powers work. I was actually going to just talk about the equipment. But like I said, I might leave it for season 3 because I don't. What is Deku's equipment? That was basically what I was going to talk about. Like why does everyone else like have like, oh, I've got gauntlets that can collect my sweat and I can shoot it, and then Deku's like, and I've got a green bunny costume.
He gets those iron souls that like kick back.
Yeah,
And then he gets the Air Force gloves. Yeah.
which that's what I mean. Where it's like, so where was that earlier on? Like I get maybe it wasn't fully thought out or anything, but it feels like everyone else has like actual equipment, and then Deku just put on a green bunny costume.
Yeah, his mom made it for him.
My mom made it for me.
Which is
Also, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like this story doesn't really like to embrace the idea of masked heroes very much. It seems that there's always an
yes,
excuse for a character to have their mask destroyed, their mask
Deku,
removed, or anything else to that effect.
mostly
I don't know
Deku.
if they got that MCU syndrome of I need to show my face every so often.
The actor must be sure to get his money's
Yeah,
worth.
it's not that much of an issue. It's just that it always reminds me that this isn't a traditional superhero story.
I don't know if Horikoshi like thinks the mask is not cool enough, but like he gave Deku a mask which he doesn't wear. It's always off, especially with his later costume. After this one, he has in this fight, the updated one he gets after the sports festival. He never puts
Yeah,
the mask on. He never.
it's
He
like
just
just
it's
yeah.
there, And if it's like okay, if it's that bad, if you don't like the design, give him something else.
And the thing is, I really liked the design initially. I started to also dislike it as time went on, to be honest. But I really liked it because it was sort of like a fake smile, these masks, like this full
Yeah,
setup, right? And I wish that there was more so played into, because it's really not Deku's personality
it's basically an All
to
Might
smile
mask.
like that. Yeah, right. But it's not his personality to really smile in the face of danger like that. His smile always looks terrified, in fact, right?
Terrifying. Yeah, it's not well
So
executed.
I really did like it, and I wished like Orokoshi kind of leaned into that a bit more, where it's like, maybe his mask evolves a bit more and more to like just be like a full on smile, because Deku can't put on that kind of heroic smile, so that we can get to that point in the story where his mask gets maybe destroyed or whatever, and we see him have to put on a real smile to really let people feel at ease that things will get better, like it just so that it could mean something for him to put on that real smile,
Mm. Now, but
you
let's
know.
talk about it though. Like quirkless Deku, man. Like cause like a lot of people don't like the quirkless Deku argument. They hate it. But the thing is, Horikoshi's first draft of My Hero Academia had Deku quirkless using gadgets to be a hero. They had Oravity as Mount Lady, and they had Kachan as a nice guy who occasionally said things with no filter, and that's why he came off as rude. But he's actually a really nice dude. They also had that All Might only showed up once in a while and was a not shadowy figure, but like just a background mentor character. And his quirk was
Mhm.
fine, and he was fine. Like there was no one for all. He just had super strength, and he was all right. Like, like what's your thoughts on that story that never came to be?
Mixed feelings. I feel like that story has many things that's worse and many things that's better.
Mm,
I think with Deku having no quirk, it would ultimately depend on how they feel they want to execute the story. The issue when you sometimes make a character weaker or more
vulnerable.
let's say that, yes, more vulnerable than the rest of the cast, what tends to happen is you start to find that other threats cannot be scaled very well to this person, so you need them to have sort of like we say like the Batman dilemma, right? They need to now have better equipment, they need to think smarter than everyone else, work harder than everyone else, all those things. But what ends up happening is once we start to find out that Batman has kryptonite in his back pocket and he has to fight an evil Superman, but he only decides to use his kryptonite as a last resort, you start to ask yourself questions as to why did you do this, Batman? Why didn't you try and end this a lot sooner? Like, was this part of the plan? And it feels like
Mm,
a lot of the stuff they're doing now is plot, essentially, right? So then we get the I'm Batman meme where, oh, how did you do so and so impossible thing? Oh, I'm
I'm
Batman,
Batman.
right? And I feel like that might have been the issue with Deku as well, because imagine Deku with gadgets, right? Having to fight someone like Overall, right?
Damn.
I don't know if he was be able to even manage
Good
in
luck.
that. It's just you know um so essentially getting to what I'm just saying is that I really like the idea. I prefer it even over the one that we got. What I would have really liked is ultimately a story where Deku does get a quirk, right? But this would be much, much later on. Like Deku still goes through the same thing as he is now, where he's like trying to be a hero, he's got his gadgets and stuff, and he gets kind of battered and bruised, quite often. And a lot of
Yeah.
people start to be like, we need to help him, right? Like other heroes get inspired by this because they feel like they have quirks and they're not even amounting to what he amounts to. And eventually, we say, I guess, Lamillion is like, hey, bro, look, um, I feel like I have failed as a hero. So I'm going to give you the quirk now. And I want you to be the hero I couldn't be, right? Because that's you. You've been doing this, right? And then Deku like earns the quirk because this story ultimately is a story of Deku proving that he deserves to get this quirk. Whereas I wish that the story itself was him proving that he deserves the quirk and then him actually getting the quirk.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, like what is your thoughts on it though? Like that draft.
My thoughts, I can see like its initial stage of stuff. It was really just him just like thinking it out. Because he said it was
Hmm.
gonna be a one shot. It wasn't gonna be like a big thing. But as it became a big thing, he added all these things. But I think I also sort of have mixed feelings about it because the quirkless thing would have hit a lot different with like, oh, he's a quirkless hero, but he's going out there and he's putting his life at risk and he's being a superhero despite the fact that like he has no powers, and the greatest hero in the world acknowledges him. The acknowledgement, that respect would go harder. But it's also like,
Yeah.
okay, since it doesn't have a quirk, the story will not go to the heights I guess I would say that the story now would go to, he wouldn't be
At
able
least
to
not with
fight.
the direction that they are using, right? Because
Yeah.
I feel like there's still a lot of clever ways you can make it matter. Me and you talk about this movie very often. It's becoming a problem. Justice League War, right? Batman's presence there is very welcome, right?
Mm.
He's not doing too much and he's not
Yeah.
doing too little, right? But ultimately, what he's doing is contributing to a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
fights without him just being me strong, punch hard. Like he's doing other stuff, right? That genuinely matter. And
True.
if the story became something like that for
True.
Deku, where again, I kind of get to the mixed feelings thing. I know why Deku still has the obsession with other people's quirks. It's because he was initially supposed to do exactly this, where he goes to someone and he says, "Look, bro,
Yes.
this is what your quirk does. Use your quirk like this. Try it." And then the person does it, and it changes the tides of the battle. That Deku, the guy without the quirk, manages to have such an influence on the battle. That's obviously what the plan was. But again, you need to have time to actually make the story like that work. Don't know if Horikoshi would have had that.
And I also, it's just a little thing of mine, personal thing. I really liked Deku's design in that draft. It was really cool.
Yeah.
It's like
That
he had
emo
like this
Deku, right?
dark hair. Yeah, the emo Deku with like the one eye covered. Like he just looked really like.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he looks pathetic, but also pretty creepy. Like don't mess with that guy.
Hmm.
And even his costume, the bunny suit motive was meant to look even more creepier.
Yeah. Sort of like
So yeah, that
his
was like the
vigilante
whole.
phase, his dark Deku phase.
Yes, which now that you mentioned that, it's pretty interesting. You could say that Horikoshi like went back and took that and was inspired to let me bring this back but in a different way, you know?
I wonder if it was him testing the waters, like, oh, what would people react to like the initial Deku I had in mind?
Because a lot of people like really mess with that design, how
Hmm. Hmm.
creepy and edgy he looks. I don't, but hey, to each his own, you know?
I mean, personally, I don't either. I in a different story, perhaps,
Yeah, because
but not
like
this
Deku's
one.
suit, I don't know. Deku's suit has a lot of potential, in my opinion, that like is very untapped. Because there was one chapter where Mei Hatsume, the chick that makes like support studio
Take.
items, she said, yeah, the tech girl, she said the Air Force gloves you have, I had a draft or idea where I could put them in your boots, but I didn't have time because you were rushing me, and so I only made you gloves. And I was like, Ixe, wait, boots? No, bring them out, bro. Like, come on,
Don't get
give
me
this dude
started. This
some
is a problem with
gadgets.
all stories. This is a problem with all stories where stuff like this exists. Where, again, I know for meta reasons why it doesn't happen, right? Where it's like, oh,
Mm,
Peter, you could have rocket boots. Why are you swinging on webs? And say, no, but he's the web slinger. So, like, why would he not swing on webs? It's like, yeah, I get it.
mm.
But if we are arguing about being a purely efficient superhero, just get some rocket boots, bro. Stop this
Yeah, for you to
webbing
get there
around.
fast.
Yeah, just get like tech so you can fly and go to space and go
Because
underwater.
I'm
Stop
thinking, like,
being
the way the Air
yeah.
Force gloves works is he pulls it back, right? And like a funnel like jumps forward to like funnel his air forward so it doesn't like
Hmm.
dissipate. And then like if he had to do that with his legs and then like he funnels the air by his foot and then like he uses all for one
Arjun.
and it just like boosts him up in the air like even faster. Like he could move much quicker. He could just like he won't be stronger, but he'll be faster. Because that is a recurring theme the whole time in the story that like Deku's strength doesn't increase with this full cow nonsense going on,
Hmm.
but his
Hmm.
speed keeps increasing, and it's like he just gets faster, you know?
Which I wish was more relevant because him being faster isn't very relevant.
No, it's not. Because this kid is like quick, and they don't like he can keep up with Ingenium. You know how fast Ingenium is, which is also downplayed.
Yeah. She just I don't know, man. The story kind of it's not just like that. That's also the other issue, right? Like imagine Deku didn't have a quirk, right? And the story played out the
Mm,
way that it does now, where certain people who don't have quirks that gives them enhanced strength, enhanced durability, enhanced speed, all that stuff, they are rocking it with the best of them, bro. We find Toga fighting people who's got super strength, durability. They shoot fire from their hands and stuff like that, and she's doing just fine. So now imagine Deku in that same world, it would kind of after a while, I bet a lot of people would get the impression of why does he even need a quirk? He doesn't need a quirk. Like
Yeah.
if it's this easy to fight everybody, it just for me it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Because one of the characters, my favorite character, who should probably be like OP in the story, but for no reason at all, just isn't. Red Riot, like
Ah.
like if durability is a problem in a story, right? Somebody whose durability is automatically higher than everyone else's, they already become very powerful. But like in the story, it's just like no, actually, we don't make him that powerful.
Because Red Riot could be like on some the thing buzz.
Yeah,
And I mean, you could say, okay, but he's only a first year student. He doesn't know the inner workings of his quirk, and he never went through the quirk evolution. So you don't know, you don't know what he could unlock. But it's like still like he can still do a lot, you know.
but like even just that, right? One of the things that really fascinated me as a child was when people told me Wolverine has super strength. I was like, that's bull. What do you mean he has super strength? He doesn't. He has regeneration and like
Yo,
claws, bro. He doesn't have super strength. They're like, yeah, but
yo,
think about it, right? His skeleton is indestructible, right? I was like, yeah, bet it's indestructible. So doesn't mean he's stronger. It's like, yeah, but like if he lifted something that would break his arm, it wouldn't break his arm. And I'm like, yeah, so it doesn't mean he can lift it. Like, yeah, but if his muscles tore, they would just regenerate, right? And I was like, uh, uh, um, yeah, I guess he should be able to lift
damn.
more than a normal person. And they're like, exactly. So it's like in a way super strength. It's not exactly super strength, but
Well, his
it's something.
database does say that Wolverine can lift more than the average like Olympic level guy. Like he can lift
Yeah,
quite a lot given his bones that can support the weight. He's not super strength, but like he can do some.
exactly. Like essentially that thing of we can't use 100% of our muscle power because it would destroy our muscles. Deku intensifies.
Mm.
Whereas Wolverine doesn't have to worry about that because even if it did destroy it, it would just regenerate faster than it's being destroyed. Then
Yo,
with
just
that,
a
it
quick
was
thing that you
yeah,
reminded me. This is like way off topic in the video, but like I've been reading Grant Morrison's new X-Men run, and like Wolverine got burnt to a crisp, and he was meditating in the mountains, and then he told Jean, who came to come see him, that like he maxed out his healing factor, so he had to meditate to like recharge it, and that was so weird because I've never known him to max out his healing factor.
that's interesting. Especially because when you read certain comics where he just like regenerates from like purely skeleton.
Yeah, but okay, that's a short. We'll clip that into a short. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so like onto the thing of now Kirishima, right? The
Mm,
thing about him is that he should then follow some of the principle, right? That because his body doesn't break, he should then be able to lift more than what you would expect him to, hit harder than what you would expect him to, jump further than what you would expect him to, all those things. Ignoring now the whole thing of like his durability kind of getting in the way of his movements and such.
yeah.
I just I just feel like we see this happen pretty often, right? Again, we see this also with Ida, that this is a character who should be able to do a lot more, but the excuse is that they are first year or they are side characters, so they won't. And it makes me sad
Mm.
because it's like, oh, so then they will never do something important unless it's an arc dedicated
And
specifically to
that
them.
that aspect gets me like it. I tilt my head at it because then you get to see other first year students do crazier stuff, and it's like, but you said that they first years. Why is he or she doing something crazy?
And
And
their quirk
then
isn't evolved either. They still
and
trying to
their
learn how
quirks
to use their quirk.
exactly. It's not even evolved, but they doing that. It's like it's so weird, man. It's so
Yeah.
strange that they
I'm
pick
looking
and
at Shoto's.
choose. Yeah, he never had a revolution, but like he's out here using cold fire.
Like, oh man, I just mixed the cold and the hot and holla holla holla. But before that, you just seem to be able to like overpower anyone with either of your quirks with no stress at all. It's weird.
So it's like, yeah, oh no, like because I'm fighting Darby, chill him out, bro.
And it's fine for certain characters to be stronger than others. No one's trying to make that argument. It's just essentially it feels odd to watch these characters with these powers not use them in ways we've seen them use it before. It's not even a
Mm,
matter of like we head canoning stuff. We've seen them do things with their quirks that they should be able to, but
yeah,
then they don't do it again.
They just do it once, and that's it.
Like Deku's strength feats with his quirk at the beginning of the story versus later on in the story, where
He
he's
punches out.
arguably, not arguably, he's objectively stronger, but it's like, I'm not sure I feel that strength that much.
He punches out a giant robot. Bam! Like second episode, third episode. You see what 100% of one for all can do. And then you see how throughout the story that 100% gets watered down, because he fights Shigaraki in the war arc, and the
And we are
100%.
led to believe that his 100% now is way stronger than the 100% we've
It's
seen
supposed
before.
to, because the quirk keeps growing and it's just not hitting. He can't fight muscular even with 100% of his quirk, and now he's using 45% of one for full cowling just in one part of his body. It's not even 100, it's 45, and muscular is mollywopped. How?
Must mean that 45% now is way stronger than 100%. That's the only logical explanation.
That's just, it's so, mm-mm, like, you know? But not to dwell on that too much. After the battle trial arc, um, you know, it's Izuku's, and they also make a note here, Izuku battles, like, I made a note, like, he battles Kachan for the first time. Like, it's their first, like, fight, you know? This is
Yeah.
why, like, the next time they fight is called Deku versus Kachan Part 2. So, this is, like, the first fight. But, like, the next arc is, like, the USJ arc. The unforeseen simulation joint, which is like this place where they go to train. And when they were there, Shigaraki and his League of Villains, they find the facility and they take it. They lay a siege,
This will
putting the
become a
students in
trend.
danger. This will become a trend. So now the kids are in danger. They have to defend themselves. All Might is not there yet. So they just have to just defend themselves. You see all of
Remind
them
me real
working
quick.
together.
Does Todoroki ever use his costume ever again, like his half ice costume?
He does not.
I
Yeah, I'm glad he forgot. We forwent to that. Like he just stopped using that nonsense.
I
Half
don't know.
half.
If, at this point in the story, I kind of got that impression that he's probably going to be revealed to be a villain later on. I'm not sure if that was like me headcanon nonsense, but I
I
kind of
sort
felt
of.
like,
I feel like I went down that train of thought myself. Like somewhere, I just thought this guy's sus.
yeah, no, it's just because like when he froze that one dude in this arc that we're talking about now, right? Like the way that that guy was talking to him and about him made me feel like, ah, man, he's probably a villain as well. He's like undercover or something.
Hmm. Can't he? The undercover people, we didn't even know who they were. Like, you know.
Ah,
So, and then all the students, well, all hope almost seems lost. And I think Deku like breaks his arm once in this fight, or he's about to, but then the normal
I
shock absorbent
he does mess up his hand when him and Froppy and
pa-
what's guy's name?
grapefruit. Oh yeah, what's his
Yeah,
name? I forgot
Mineta.
his name. Manera. There we go.
When he must makes that whirlpool when Deco makes the whirlpool in the water with his
Yes,
finger flick. Like think about that, bro. A finger flick does that. This guy is like OP.
I think this is the first time we see Maneta. Like we interact with Maneta quite a lot, and we get to know he's such a
Yes.
perv, and he's the only one like who's just like he looks at Frappe and he's like, I'd hit that.
Keep that in mind. That will change later in the story.
So, yeah, and then All Might shows up. Everyone's at ease, and they created. You get introduced to the Nomus, which are genetically modified or engineered super beings,
Mutants.
mutant monsters, right? Each one with a specific purpose. We're not at the high ends yet, but we're at the normal normals. At all, their only purpose is to like just like add manpower. And I guess the highest experiment they've reached now is the shock absorber Nomu that they put against All Might. The one that you see him punching out in the opening of season one, which is it looks so cool. Um,
Plaza Ortura.
yeah, so um All Might fights him. It's a tough fight. His quirk's at his limit, but he has to keep going. And he goes plus ultra, 300 punches. This thing can't take the force anymore. It's destroyed. And then I like this comment that almost is like, oh, back in my heyday, it would take me like a few punches to take him out. But today, it took me a mighty 300 blows. And I'm like,
Damn.
nigga. Yo,
Which really sets the playing field there, right? You get a hint as to how much he has really fallen.
nigga, like, damn. 300. How busted were you in your heyday?
Exactly, and it's like those hits. They. I don't know if it was the animation, but they look like they were doing stuff, bro.
Bro, getting a punch from. Oh, and his hand is massive, so, like, he
Yeah.
gone. So, yeah, and I like how he fought in, like, his suit, like the shirt and the tie and, like, the
Oh
suit
yeah,
pants,
yeah.
looking like a pastor going to fight or something. So, no, but All Might Loki always looking like a pastor. I think about it.
I mean, not at the
He-
beginning, right? At the beginning, he kind of just looks like a guy fresh out the gym
Yeah,
with
yeah,
like the
yeah.
white t-shirt and the jeans.
Yeah. But when he starts being a teacher, it's like, Pastor
Beyond
All Might
that
here.
thing, Headmaster
So,
All Might.
so he defeats the Nobu, and everyone is at ease. Everyone is happy about
Crisis
it. Everyone's
averted.
safe. Crisis averted. Shigaraki fails, throws a tantrum, is upset. We get introduced to the Warp Gate guy who takes care of Tomura, assigned to take care of him, get him out of situations quickly, you know. And
Speaking of
that's
Nomos,
yes, he's also a Nomu himself. Kurogiri, that's his name. Um, so yeah, this is like the first season. That's the first
was
season
that a
that this plays.
spoiler?
Technically,
Damn, my bad.
technically, yeah, it's a spoiler because like we thought he was. That's his. We thought that's his quirk,
That was
But then,
him.
then we learn later that Nomu. He's essentially a high end, but like okay, yeah, he's a high end because high ends can talk, so he's a high end essentially. Um,
But let's
next,
just get into something real quick before we move on.
right?
Guns in My Hero. Where are they?
Yo, yo,
Where are they, bro? Because I know there's one dude who uses guns,
gunhead,
right?
machine head.
Hmm.
It's gunhead. He's like a
Um,
gun themed hero.
yeah, that's what I mean, right? And he's pretty good at it by the looks of it, right? So it's
Yeah.
just like, I don't know, man. Can't we just
I
like
think
strap up some
Uramati
brothers?
goes to like an internship by him, and he's like a really nice dude. Like he's so soft, and he teaches her gunhead martial arts, which she always uses like as a gag, but it really works. Like she'll say gunhead martial arts, then she'll like do a judo flip.
Like it just, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of the altercations might have been a bit easier if they had a gun. I'm not trying to advocate people should use guns. I just mean, like,
Quirkless,
you're
but not
fighting.
out of options.
Exactly, right? Like you fighting a normal, you just start blasting.
Exactly. Like if the Nomu is not like the shock absorbent, I'm sure Hollow Point or Armor PSA is good for you, bro. You good. You good. Like if you on some like Winter Soldier thing, Deadshot thing, you good, bro.
You can manage. And Sister Girl, forget her name now already. Zoom eyes, tech chick. Wouldn't she
Meihatsu.
like be really good with guns?
Yeah, man. She would give what's her name that they sump over. Lady Nagant, she would give that sniper a run for money.
What's
Because
her name?
I don't know,
Forget her
Lady
name.
Nagant. I don't know
Uh,
how Nagant sees. Oh no, she has a sniper. I'm being very stupid. She has a
I was
sniper
about to
on
say.
her elbow.
And then the
Oh,
sniper.
I'm being very stupid. She has a
Man, how
sniper,
does she
guys.
snipe people?
I was
I
not gonna
wonder
say, how
if it
does she
has anything to
see?
do with the sniper.
But it's only until
Uh,
Deku starts moving fast that she's like, okay, now I can't see this guy. He's moving way too fast. And they animated that fight, and I have to say, Bones did a good job with that fight. How they made the third user's quirk look Fajin peak. Very nice.
hmm.
But now we're in the UA Sports Festival. And dare I say that this is one of or the best arc in the whole like series. Dare I say.
Man, I don't know. Probably.
It's up
Can
there.
we say that the All Might the retirement section is its own arc?
Yes.
So like we just like
Self-contained.
just
That's
that
a
piece,
movie.
because that I really like that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
I
good.
obviously also really love the reveal of the Unbreakable, Ray Right Unbreakable.
Oh man,
I
bro. Overall arc like is also up there somewhere. Like I think
man,
with overall's arc now, I think it had I don't want to give it too much credit because I feel like the writing of the overall arc it could have some issues, but the
it could be
spectacle
better.
it could be
The
better.
moments. is
But the
very, very
moments
good.
and the spectacle, and how they're like, all everyone began to converge on one goal to save this girl. And in doing that, they changed the future and Deku survived. And I'm like, man, who Scorsese, are you seeing this shit?
Is the cinema.
It's the cinema. Because like it was just so good. But UA Sports Festival, it's a thing where the UA freshmen they do like it's basically like and what not inter schools, no inter houses, like or
Yeah.
just inter students, and it's so hype because every anime has their tournament arc that just lets you see everyone's powers, capabilities,
Put
your
some of
dream
them against
fights.
each other.
Yeah, your dream fights, people fighting against each other. You get to see all those things, right? Um, and Deku gets a chance to show himself to the world because All Might tells him, "Listen, when you go out there, you must show people that I am here. Show them that you are the next big thing." Because All Might, when he was in the sports festival, he won first place, and he that was his showcase. Like people were like, "Who is this kid? He's pretty strong." Um, so you also get a glimpse, a big glimpse into Todoroki's past. You also meet Endeavor for the first time, my favorite character in My Hero Academia. Very well written. Chef's kiss. So yeah, you
Am I
get to
the
meet
only
him.
weirdo who likes Kirishima the best? Guys, support me in the comments, please.
Now Kirishima's peak, bro. Like he is peak.
No, I know, but I just I feel like this is one of those stories because the main
Yujiro
character
Kirishima.
is a bit. Man, I don't want to say like bad about Deku. I really like Deku in his introduction, even in this arc specifically.
Yeah.
Deku was like he was really great. When he was talking to Todoroki and such. Um, but like in a way, because Deku isn't really that nice as a character, I guess it gives you a lot of room to appreciate other characters in the story as well.
Mm.
Um, where you don't really get something like that. Once again, I'm not ragging on Naruto. I do like it, but a lot of the other characters in the story don't feel like that much. And
Now with
even
Naruto, I
though,
have a big problem with that. That the rest of the Konoha 11, they're just not given the time of day.
yeah, they don't, and just they lack that presence, right? Like Lee was like a really nice character back in the OG Naruto,
First
but like
Naruto, yeah.
as
Damn.
soon as Shippuden rolled around, it was like, man, I don't know, man. This guy's like, he's still cool and stuff, but he's just not getting that limelight anymore. At least not the way I would have
See what I
liked.
mean about like tournament, like chewing exams also was like, it was up there, man. Like you felt the hype.
Yeah, no, for real. But I'm not sure. I only liked the first half of the tuning exams. The second half, I wasn't that interested.
when they disrupted it and then like Orochimaru showed up. Now that was yeah,
Yeah.
that was weird.
And that whole Gara fight where it's like, oh, Gara's so powerful because he's got sand. It's like, bro, people can breathe fire. I don't know if he's that impressive.
Yo, nah. So like this arc, like this, there's a scene in the manga and the anime, of course, but like where it's the entrance like challenge of the sports festival, and they have to like run. It's like a foot race. They have to like get to like first place or whatever, and everyone like Kachan is using the explosions, Todoroki is using the fire and the ice to slide, and Junium is like blasting past people, and Deko's like, I can't use all for one. I'll break my bones and I'll be out of commission. So there are mines on the field. Like I don't know why they put a minefield. These are students. You can kill them. This is very dangerous. But they put minefields. No, I think are they non-lethal?
I was about to say maybe they are non-lethal.
They non-lethal. Yeah, they non-lethal. So Deku like takes a piece of I think it's a door or piece of a robot that was there. I can't remember. But he like jumps onto the mines and he uses that to propel him forward. And with that, he was, I think, third place behind Shoto and Katsuki. And it's like, damn, bro, he did that. Like he used these. I like how
He
Deku in
used
the
his
in the
head.
in the first start, yeah, he uses his head in the first few arcs, and then like as the story goes on, he just doesn't use his head anymore because it's like I'm gonna kick you real quick. It's like, bro, think.
I will hit harder.
I'm going to hit harder. I must use 100%. Think, bro, think. You know, Jimmy
Think.
Neutron.
Oh, I thought you were gonna be like, think mark.
Oh, Omni Man. Insert Omni Man meme here. But yeah, so that's like the first exercise. The other ones are a bit hazy. I do remember the one where they had to like be on someone's shoulders and take like these headbands off you.
Oh, man, a lot of these like I mean, I didn't even remember that was the thing, bro. I was about like I was
You
gonna
know
start
why?
saying like,
Because
oh, then they start fighting.
we all came for the fights, man. You understand what I'm saying? Like we all just, my mind immediately goes to the fights when I think sports festival, and I can't remember the first fight, but I do remember like a bunch of them. Like there was Kachan versus Uravati, like she lost really
There
bad.
were fights.
Um, but she had a solid plan. It's just that like Kachan just blew everything up, literally. Like
Um,
there was Tokoyami versus Yayarozu, Creati. The chick can create stuff from her like leopards, fat leopards.
man, he's man, he's quirk. I don't understand it. I just don't.
Tokoyami,
Yeah, it's he's
Dark
got like a
Shadow,
shed. It's got like a shadow monster attached to him, and when it's dark,
Dark
it's strong,
Shadow,
and when it's
light, it's weak.
yeah, but like so I mean, it's like I just don't understand it though. It's
Get
like
get this get this explanation to why Dark Shadow is so strong right now in like the current part of the story, where he's fighting all for one. The
alright.
fires that Dabi burnt the forest with, and the dark clouds is creating so much shadows that Dark Shadow is able to unleash his full power,
Mm-hmm.
and it's so strong that like all for one just can't deal with it.
Bruh.
All for one for some reason doesn't have a quirk that can help him like just shine.
It's not like he could like just blast him away or anything, right? Or blast the clouds or the smoke away.
For some reason he just can't. And it's like it's these things that are happening in the story currently that just, it's like what the hell, bro? But besides that, back to the sports festival. Um, yeah, there's that fight. Ingenium fights Todoroki. He needs to get a hero name. Seriously. Equinox is right there. Just name Equinox. I always say this.
Yeah, but I don't know. With dynamite, maybe they can go with dynamite.
He's gonna name himself like half hot, half cold might or something. I don't know. His naming sense is just weird. Um,
Hot and cold. That's a quirk.
bro, hot and cold. Oh, one of the
Uh,
cooler fights that I really enjoyed is the one of the mind control guy Shinso, who everyone thinks that like his quirk is sinister. It's very villainous because he can control you. It's basically mind control, and he fights Deku, and I don't think Deku knows about it. And then he says something that provokes Deku, and Deku answers, and then he gets caught,
he gets caught.
and then they walk him to the edge. But before he gets there, that's the
One
first
for all
glimpse you
kicks
get.
in.
Yeah, the first glimpse you get of the fact that there are 8 previous users after Deku, and they all wake him up by making his finger like flick, and then he wakes
The
up.
shock
And
wakes him.
that, bro, can't stand how the massive shockwaves that get released by just flicking a finger of this guy, bro. And then later in the story, his quirk is just like watered down. This kid is busted, bro.
That's the thing. That's what I mean. It's like he can just flick a finger and the airwaves is insane. The
Bro,
pressure blast is just
everybody in the stadium was like, the hair was in the sky, bro. Like it's crazy.
and we see him do it more and more throughout the later fights where he even uses like his finger in his mouth with the flick and it just makes
Yes,
a massive wave of air, bro. It's like, what?
bro. He was literally shattering Todoroki's like glass, not glass, ice pillars. Like
Ice.
you would be like, oh, heaven piercing ice wall, denied. And it would just break. Shoto would have lost if it wasn't for him trying to like convert him,
Or plot.
plot. Yeah, But getting into that fight, this is where we touch more on Todoroki's past of like how Endeavor, um, abusive, tried to groom him to surpass All Might, push his ambitions onto Shoto. Shoto being so upset about it, he rejected his father's fire quirk. Trying to convince Shoto that like, yo man, the quirk is yours, not his. You can use it if you want to. It don't change who you are, man. That's your thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, do it for you. And so Shoto is like, yeah, man, I want to be a hero too. So then he pulls out the fire, and then Deku's smiling, and then he's like, I like that. He's like to Deku, why are you smiling? You realize I'm using my full power now, right? And he's like, yeah. So now we can fight like all out.
Hmm. But I think it's also, yeah, that sense of pride that was there. That it's like, yeah, I convinced him. That's nice.
Yeah, and I like that because by the time when he shows them this cold fire, it's not the best thing, but like when he's showing them, I like how he looks at, he turns to Dick and he's like, yo, man. And he recalls the festival. That's what it's like, bro, thank you. Like, this all started with you, man. If it wasn't for you, like, I wouldn't get you because I wouldn't have accepted the quirk. This is all thanks to you, man. And then I'm like, damn, this
But something
guy,
that kind of interests
W
me,
friendship.
um, first of all, we see him use this quirk that apparently we find out later on he's very unfamiliar with. He uses it very efficiently in this fight, which is interesting because I didn't know that if you suppressed like a part of your quirk, once you use it again, it's difficult to use because you need to get used to it. Because I mean, there's a guy who I don't know if you guys know who he is, right? He's not a very
Mhm.
important villain to the story. His name is Shigaraki. He
Mm,
suppressed his quirk due to things that happened to him. But when he releases it, he doesn't seem to have that much issues with it. Eh?
nope. He has fun with that shit. He has fun with that, you know what I'm
It's just kind of strange that the rules are not enforced equally.
Hey, like I said before, the quirk rules. It's for some it applies, for some it doesn't. You know, it's really strange.
It's
But
fine. It's just for me. I kind of get taken out of moments like this because again we do see Shoto use the quirk seemingly very well. He unleashes like a massive attack. But then later on, we're told that he's not used to using his fire side, and it's not his movements with it is sluggish.
yeah,
And I'm like, I haven't seen any of that sluggish movements, but maybe I haven't been paying attention.
and then later on they boil it down to, oh, he can't release the intensity his father has.
Yeah, like I'm gonna believe that
He needs to learn flash fights. Like, just turn up the heat, bro.
and cool
You know,
yourself down if you can't handle the
yeah,
heat. I
just
thought
turn
that
your
was the point.
of your quirk, of your creation, bro, of your birth.
Exactly, but nah, apparently not really, because
What's your
mixing the
what's your
cold blood and
thoughts
the
on
hot blood.
what's your thoughts on Endeavor as a character?
And I mean, I don't know, man. Mixed feelings. I do like the whole redemption, but I kind of don't think I can tolerate retcons like that. Um, because like I felt like Orokoshi kind of saw the light in a way. He was like, "Oh man, this redemption arc, I can make this a redemption arc for real." And then we got retcons instead. Instead of getting just a redemption arc, we got retcons. I don't think I can stand by that.
Mm, mm, mm.
That's like like it's almost as if I were to find out like if someone wanted to make All Might into a villain of their story, and then we find out that All Might hates saving people. It's like it's the same thing. But it's like instead of making the redemption arc a redemption arc, they made a couple of retcons. They did a good job though, because not all of it was retcon for
Yeah.
Endeavor. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm mixed feelings. I like it, but I have issues. The writing could have been tighter. Let me say that.
Yeah, I get you. I get
Especially
you.
because of like reveals that we get later. I don't know how old this is or how many people care. I'm not gonna talk about it, right? But
uh,
the more information we get, the more confused I become.
with his whole thing.
Yeah, especially like him being abusive, right? Because like even the thing for like for Shoto, right? Initially when I read it, I was like, oh, his mom, she poured boiling water on him because she thought he sucked and she hated him. That's why. And then like we get one retcon where it's like, nah, that's not really the entire story. And then when that happened, I was under the impression that oh, what happened was she accidentally poured hot water on his face, and it did nothing because it was on the hot side of his face. And then she put the cold, and then that's what caused the damage.
Wait, what?
That was the impression I was under. But then
Oh,
later on, it's like, oh no, that's not what happened either, right? And I'm like, okay, now I'm a bit lost. Again, this is more so like now my experience in reading it because obviously you then find out that nah, um, that's she kind of messed up. But the point is,
it was
I
like
kind of felt that a lot of this was a bit of a journey for me to follow. Is what I'm
they
getting
they
at
were
here.
like, oh, what's this? She thought she saw Endeavor's face, so she threw the
Yeah,
water, and it's like, that's your son, girl. Come on.
But again, that's also what I mean. Like, because we get a couple of retcons that makes him seem more just like, should I say, he's just a bit aggressive in his objectives. It doesn't seem like he's abusive. And that's what the retcons keep doing. They make more and more and make it seem that it's just like,
He's
it's
abusive.
almost, no, like, what I mean is that they make it seem like he's not abusive with each retcon. It's more
Mm.
so just like, he's just kind of pushing them a bit too much. That's all.
No, but he was a terrible. Like he really just was a
Yeah, no,
terrible
he
dude.
was. He was definitely that's the thing that I don't really like about it. It gives off the impression that it's almost like, guys, it's just a misunderstanding. His son burned to death because he misunderstood, guys.
Ah! Oh
It's not
god.
because it's not a devil's fault, guys.
No way, bro.
That's what I
That's
mean. Where it's like
insane.
the implications there is that it's not him being abusive. It's a misunderstanding almost.
Mm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
that's what I was just saying. Like it's hard for me, but I do really like even the fact that fire is somewhat effective, and anime doesn't like the idea that fire is effective
Hmm, mm-hmm.
unless it's like for a cool moment, right? Like you look at Yamamoto in Bleach, just incinerates a guy instantly, then it's like, oh yeah,
Yamamoto is the
fire.
is the is the goat, bro. When it comes to fire, like he's the goat. One of
But
the
yeah,
goats.
indulge me for a second, tell me about your favorite My Hero character.
Endeavor.
Yeah.
So like Endeavor, the thing I like about it, like not number one, but in no particular order, fire user. Like I like fire users that make using the ability look interesting. I don't know. It's maybe it's because I'm dumb, right? But like just the concept of flash fire, right? It's like, look, all I can do is burn stuff, but I'm going to raise my temperature so high, I'm gonna one shot anything that comes across me, and I'm gonna look at and make it look creative,
Yeah.
and like
That's what I mean.
his
It's like anime doesn't do that very often. That's for me why I always feel like that hits a certain kind of way, because it's like it's very uncommon for you to see someone rock up with a fire and burn things, right? Even in Fire Force.
yeah, and like his name, Endeavor. What is he trying to do? Endeavoring to be it just hit different. I do like his name. I do like his quirk.
Yeah, one of the
Um,
things I do really like about My Hero as well, now that you mentioned that, is that sometimes the character's name isn't just I've got wings, so I'm Hawks, you know,
yeah,
or I've got Uraraka and Gravity, so Uravity.
gravity.
It's
It's
like
like
it's like sometimes it's like All Might, it's like
I
there's
believe
many
it's.
meanings there.
I also like mentioned this one time when we had a conversation where I was like, someone in the story in my David mentioned that like your quirk, not your quirk, your hero name has to be an echo of what you're trying to be or represent or become. And
Hmm.
learning that Endeavor, name yourself Endeavor because of that was just like, damn, you named yourself what you want to represent, what you're doing, like who you are, Endeavor, you
Exactly.
know? So it's just hit like, damn, this guy is something else, man.
And it's just pretty nice to to see that, because it's it's not like bad
Cool
that
costume
superhero
too.
media does that. But like superhero media really does boil down sometimes the character to just what they're wearing or what they look like, and that's about it when it comes to their superhero name. Oh, you've got bone powers and you're a girl? Bone girl. There you go.
Yeah.
That feels like the amount of thought that was put in sometimes when you see some of these characters, right? Oh, your mutant ability, you can make spikes. We'll call you Spike.
Yeah, you know. So like Endeavor, like he's just like a lot of stuff. I just find him cool. I think the way Hawks is with Endeavor is the way I am. I'm a fan. I think he's really cool. His quirk is cool. His name is cool. Suit is cool. Um, and I find his character arc or something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And his family dynamic, the whole thing with Darby, with Shoto, I just find it pretty interesting.
Did you say
And
family dynamic? Spoilers? Come on, bro.
sorry. I mean, like the way he, yeah, the stuff in his family is pretty interesting. It's just in a season of dryness when it comes to story, his redemption and his family stuff like just brought a nice element to put the chair back down and sit and just read on.
I
You
mean,
know,
let's be honest, right? Orokoshi just likes that family more than any other character. He wants them to be the main characters of the story.
let's be real. Nah, for real. Let's actually be real.
Like you can see once he was doing that story, he started to really fall out of love with Deku.
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the signs. Yeah, definitely. Um, but yeah, that's endeavor. Like,
But let me ask now that I mentioned it, right? Do you feel as though the story still has its identity? And I guess to you, in a way, what does it mean for the story to have an identity at this point?
hmm, I don't think the story has fully its identity anymore because this started as a
So would
it
you say
start
like you're starting to see the cracks in the walls here?
yes, that's what I'm like. That's I think exactly what how I would put it. Because we started the story sorry, with Deku. We started the story with Deku trying to be the world's greatest hero, him trying to work towards something. But as the story went on, his goals became weird. It changed a bit, um, and we see how a lot of I wouldn't say the sense of wonder, but a lot of what he wanted to do just became it got thrown out the window, right? And his character
Hmm. Hmm.
regressed. Now he's just somebody who wants to get the job done. It's not about inspiring people, it's not about saving people. You could argue, okay, look, no, but he's trying to save Shigaraki. He's trying to still looking for Tomura inside the amalgamation of him and All for One. He's trying to save the world, he's trying to save Japan, but it's like, yeah, he's doing that because, well, it's his duty as a one for all user, and because, well, the world's in danger. i,
Yeah,
I I don't I
it,
don't
I don't like that the story sort of become one of those chosen one stories. It's you who pulled the sword out of the stone, so you must now fight for Camelot. Like something like that,
you
where
see.
it feels like Deku's agency is non-existent. It's more so just
That's what I mean.
what.
Like when he left to go and like deal with everything and wrote the letter to his friends, it's like, okay, now I have to do this. I have no choice. I'm the one who can. If not me, then
Mhm.
who? And it's like, yo, man, like
You
after
were
this
more than
arc,
this.
you were more than this, man. Like after this arc, like what changed so drastically for you to become this person, right? um
Hmm.
and I think the whole thing of the school stuff, Horikoshi Sato said that like became a very big shackle because it was always serious stuff back to school, serious stuff back to school. Now it's
Or
just
the school
serious
gets
stuff.
attacked. The school keeps
Yeah,
getting attacked. And it's
now
like,
it's
yeah,
like
why didn't this happen before though? Like, why is it only now that this is happening? This should have been a thing.
serious thing happened, forget the school, like we can't go back to school, it's too much now. The school
Mhm.
appears they staying there for safety, but they're not having like lessons and stuff anymore because I mean the world's in chaos. So yeah, I think a lot of what made Mario Academia um different and magical is just not there anymore. And the writing decisions being taken are just half-assed and not thought through.
Mhm.
Is what I think. And you also asked me like, what do I think is it having its identity?
Yeah, like what do you think it means for the story to have an identity? Just so like the audience maybe gets an idea of what is meant when we say it's losing identity. Just like as an
Would
example I could give is that I felt like the identity of the story was we are watching this young boy grow up to become the world's greatest hero. And I'm starting to lose sight of what where when does this happen exactly. It feels like with all the stuff that I'm seeing now, where does the world's greatest hero title come from then, having seen what we've seen up until now, like I don't
that
know
is one of my
where does it
issues
come
as
from.
well. That is one of my issues as well because we come into this. Okay, this is the story that where I'm going to become the world's greatest hero. In the first few arcs, in the first few seasons, you sort of see those foundations be, built down.
Laid down.
Deku is meddling where he's not supposed to be meddling into, like it tells Shoto. Meddling where I'm not supposed to is the essence of being a hero. He changes him, saving
Hmm.
people, putting saving before winning, mastering his quirk, doing all these things. You see him build up that persona of being a hero. Him taking a different approach to heroism that harkens back to All Might's, you know, energy. It's like
Hmm.
he's bringing that back, and that he's gonna grow into that and evolve that and develop that. But now it's like that has regressed, and he's a different person now. And
Yeah,
this all started, in my opinion, from season 4 onwards.
I
Close to the
personally feel like it
overall arc.
actually started just now, right? Because we start to realize now. that almost like how you said, the school is becoming a problem, right? The fact that they are here at school becomes now something of a problem. Um, because one thing that I don't understand till this day is how does UA exactly help you become a hero? It's like, oh, you go to class and then you write a test, and then they say, okay, guys, you need to learn how to use your quirks. And it's like, oh, but I thought you guys assumed they know how to use their quirks already because one of your tests was, guys, destroy these robots. So it's like, what if
Mm-hmm.
nobody knew how to use their quirk before they got here? Well, what then? Nobody would be able to even get into your school. Part of your entrance exam is that they must use their quirks
Their
and
quirks.
get points for using it.
And
Right?
there's even
Part of
later
this,
an
what
apprehension
they're
test.
doing now with the festival is to show off their capabilities with their quirks. So I don't understand how you're going to school to learn how to use your quirk, but you already know how to use your quirk. And then they're like, no, the essence of learning how to use your quirk is to know the limits of your quirk. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Are you going to teach them how to overcome those limits? It's like, no, now it's time for special moves, guys. Don't worry about that anymore. We're doing special moves now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I feel like the identity got lost in this very thing, right? Because it's like, how does this help Deku become the world's greatest hero? Because, like for example, we get to the thing with the special moves. He must put the shoes on and whatever, right? The
Yeah.
steel tip shoes. But what I don't understand is that once Deku learns how to completely control the quirk, right, these shoes become irrelevant. They don't help him anymore,
Mm.
right? So it's like a lot of the stuff he learns here is going to be stuff that's only relevant up until he learns how to properly use his quirk, which I thought that's what they were trying to teach him. But no, they say, oh, your quirk, your belly button laser, you can't shoot it for long. Here's a thing that lets you shoot your belly button laser for longer. It's like, okay, but the problem is that they can't shoot it for long. Are you going to teach them how to shoot it for longer instead of giving them an item that lets them do that?
That is also something I noticed that also ticked me off a bit, where it's like they give him these crutches, instead of teaching him how to
Yeah.
overcome the problem. It's like, here's a crutch because we can't use your full power in the story now. Here's a crutch so we can keep
And we can't
fighting.
use your power because of reasons. There's not even actually like any real reason. Because like example that I can give you, you've mentioned it already to me. Uh, this might be a bit of a spoiler. Who knows? But Deku's quirk now protects him
There we go.
from. So
There
it's
we
like,
go.
oh, okay. I
It's
guess.
developed so much that it creates this outer shell that protects his bones from damage, and it's like, how does it do that? How does it do that?
Which is crazy to me because it's like, oh, so now Deku isn't learning to control his quirk. His quirk is learning how to match him. It's like, oh, so I I didn't know quirks did that. They just learn how
Deku
to
told his
use
quirk to
you.
catch up.
In Soviet Russia, quirk uses you.
Bro.
It's just man, like I don't know, like it's just it's goofy, but it's fine. What the point I'm just getting at is that it kind of undermines what we've learned up until now in the story, right? All that tension is now like, oh, so if Horikoshi just decided, let's just say during the All Might retirement arc, if he just decided no, at this point Deku's quirk decided to make an outer shell to protect him, that could have just been a thing,
Mm-mm.
right? Because
Yeah,
the quirk evolution question mark. So it just I don't know. I feel like it lost its identity probably because the
man.
school became more of a focus
Why doesn't One for
over
All go through a quick evolution?
no, these quirks can't evolve because they get passed on, right? And quirk singularity and uh all for one wants to steal it. So
Yeah.
actually, you should shut up. You didn't write the story.
Because imagine that One for All having an evolution. Damn, bro.
Like I don't even know what the evolution would be, right? What because I beyond like oh my quirk cap has increased now. I can get more quirks.
Yeah. That does sound like an idea for real. Um, but yeah, so like,
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to end off with like the identity. I feel like is because the school had become more of a focus. Like at some point in time, My Hero Academia, understandably, right, academia became way more about the academia part instead of like us learning or us watching this character Deku grow and learn. what it means to be the world's greatest hero and how he becomes that. Because
Yeah,
again, I feel like that road got very muddy somewhere along the line.
exactly.
Because one of the things is he has to compete with his fellow classmates, right? So he can't be too much better than them and he can't be too much worse than them. So the writing always needs to keep pace with everybody else. And you notice immediately when he outclasses everyone completely, the writing just takes a massive change because it's like, oh, we can't make this about school life anymore because Deku's like way better than everyone else, which he was since season one. But I guess now we will acknowledge it.
Yeah, so it's just a lot of like when it got to a certain point in the story, it just started to lose a lot of like it's like it
Snowballing
started
too much, I guess.
it started snowballing too much, removing certain parts of itself and reattaching other things that I guess Horikoshi at the time thought was more relevant or just would work better that he enjoyed, and the story began to just
I hope it's
feel.
stuff that he enjoyed. Like at the end of the day, I do genuinely hope that like Horikoshi is enjoying himself at the very least. It doesn't seem that way, but I do hope so.
you know. But without further ado, we're gonna wrap it up here. At the sports festival arc, which is the
Yep.
beginning of season two. And then next time we're going to kick it off at the hero killer arc, which I think also is an arc that it starts a lot of it pushes the story forward in a very different way. It does a lot of things, and
Oh, guys, before we cut off, right? Just as another
yeah,
example of what I mean by the school becomes a weird limiter to like heroes being heroes. They have like a lot of rules of oh, you're not allowed to use your quirk unless you get like authorization, and it's like what's the point of being a hero then? Like and what?
yeah,
It's just,
rules. If
I
you
mean,
don't
I
think
don't.
them through in your story, they will make you look dumb.
Doesn't that mean that All Might's illegally been a hero for a long time? Like, or does he just get like free reign? No regulation for him.
I mean, you don't want to tangle with All Might.
I guess,
You know,
but
he's a tough
but
guy.
it's just like stuff like that makes me kind of understand why the villains are all like, oh man, we're not allowed to use our quirks. It's like, yeah, I mean, the heroes aren't allowed to use their quirks either. Like, these people are actually insane.
Because the provisional license thing only came late in the story. So what were the current heroes using?
That's what I mean.
They don't have a license, bro. What are they using?
Just illegally doing stuff
And we're gonna get into that because that follows actually late,
very
way later.
closely.
That's way later down the line. But like
Yeah.
we'll get there. But thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Uh, if you got this far to the
Tell me what I
video,
got wrong, guys, in the comment
yeah.
section.
If you got this far in the video, tell us what we got wrong. What are your thoughts about My Hero Academia? Do you think it still has its identity? Do you think it lost its identity? Just your general thoughts on what we spoke about and what you have. Just want to say, comment down below. Remember, our podcast, your podcast. It's an open chat room. But without further ado, y'all stay safe out there. Have a lovely day or evening. Always do you and always look good doing it. I've been Saint George. This has been Mono, who has came out the Matrix for this one. Uh,
Hi guys, I've left the Matrix. I'm the one. So like, I don't know if you guys know that, but it's me.
yeah, he's the one. Mono. He's the only one. You might think you're the one, but he
You're
is the one.
not.
You're not, bro. You may be the zero, but he's the one. You're not, bro. Um, but yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
Plus Ultra.
Hey there, this is Saint George coming to you live from the editing setup. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel. If you want to see more of our content, please feel free to browse through our channel and check out the rest of our videos. Feel free to comment in the comment sections. It's our podcast and it's your podcast. See you around.